So how do you handle failure? Do you like completely and totally fall apart whenever you fail at something? If so, you want to watch today's video where we're going to talk about how to deal with the fear of failure. Hi, I'm Barika from Simply Unique Coaching, and I am here to help leaders who are struggling in their leadership and they are looking for ways in order to build better teams and to become better leaders and to have the teams that they always dreamed of and desired. I have over 15 years of leadership experience and I have led more than 20 teams during that time. And in that time, I've learned what it takes to build a high performing team. And that is what I help leaders with developing the mindset and the abilities and the tools and resources so that they can build a high performing team. And in today's video, we're going to talk about recognizing the fear of failure and dealing with it head on whenever we encounter it, right? Because failure is inevitable. At some point in time, we're going to fail at something. And if you're a perfectionist, the fear of failure can be so stressful and so strenuous. Also, I want you to make sure that you stay to the end so you can find out how to deal with success the right way. So the first part of the video, we're going to be talking about dealing with failure, but there is also a proper way to deal with success. So here's the deal. Many leaders are actually high achievers, and oftentimes that's actually why we end up getting leadership positions, just because we're just so good at what we do in other arenas. And we are just used to being able to be excellent in doing so many things and getting accolades and getting lots of awards and being able to hear that, yay, well done, bravo, bravo, bravissimo. Often when it actually comes to us encountering a failure, if you're so used to winning, that time when you actually lose can be completely devastating. I want you to know that failure is actually a normal thing. Now, do we want to fail often? Not particularly. However, we want to be able to deal with failure the right way. So, first of all, we want to acknowledge that everyone is not perfect, including ourselves. Like, we are not perfect. We will never be perfect. And that is absolutely okay to know that we are not perfect. Next, we want to take the time to process our emotions properly. So, whenever we have something that we encounter that is difficult, we actually need to acknowledge our emotions. I don't know about you. I used to be a stuffer. So there were certain things that would happen and I would just stuff it down and just ignore it and just say, hey, I don't have to deal with that. Or like, like that's not important, just press on and move forward. But sometimes we actually have to deal with that stuff so that we can move forward the right way. So we want to make sure that we process our emotions and that we take the time out to say, okay, how am I feeling? Am I completely healed from all of this? Right. And then we also want to ensure that we evaluate the loss. Like, did we lose in this scenario? Is this something we could have prevented? Was it circumstances that were out of our hands? I remember this one time I had this position where we were experiencing loss. We weren't doing well in the position, and it wasn't because I wasn't working hard. It wasn't because the team wasn't working hard. It was because we did not have enough team members. Like, we literally had somebody come in and do an evaluation. And in that evaluation, it said, hey, you guys need like 10 team members, and we had like 7. And so, of course, you know, we kept falling short of our metrics because we just didn't have enough staff. And so, was that something that was in my control? No, because I didn't have the permission to hire more staff. But eventually, thank God, somebody came in and was like, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, we need more staff. That's really what's going on. They're like, oh, hire more staff. And then we were awesome. But at that time, I needed to look at, were we not performing well because it was something I was doing or my team was doing? No, it was because we just simply did not have enough staff. And that was something that I couldn't avoid. Okay. But also, if it is something that we can avoid and we can learn from, then we just want to grow from it. We can just take it as an opportunity to grow. And that actually shows maturity. We can also leave it in the past. Like, once we evaluate it and we determine, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I use moving forward so I can do better, or the circumstances can be better, or what do I want to keep an eye out for in the future? Then after we do that, leave that junk in the past. Leave that in the past. We don't want to harp on that failure. We want to, and actually, failures can also inspire other people, right? And that's one of the blessings that can come out of failing, is that by way of you going through it and overcoming it, you will be able to inspire someone else to say, hey, you know what? I failed at stuff before. And do I like failing? No. Do I fail often? Hopefully not. But, those times that I have failed at something, I was able to come through it, and you're going to be able to get through this as well. So it actually becomes something that can help inspire and motivate other people. And that's always a blessing, right? We also want to be willing to try again, because we don't want that thing to give us like the old 1, 2, that failure to go bam, 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 and then we're like, we get totally knocked out. Like, we don't want it to be a situation like that. We want it to be something where we can try again, where we can learn again, where we can say, hey, you know what? I am not going to let this one knock me down or knock me out. I'm not going to give it the satisfaction of being able to take me out. I'm going to overcome this. I'm not going to just survive this. Sometimes you just got to survive stuff, but sometimes you can overcome it and thrive despite of it. Like you can have some people that came from maybe an impoverished neighborhood, but then they were able to rise above it and to do better in life. Now, let's talk about dealing with success. So this is the one I said stay to the end because I want to talk about dealing with success properly. Because sometimes we can feel good about success. And listen, we should feel good about success. Actually, my name means success. Yep. It means success. It means blessing. It means a couple of other things. And so when it comes to success, we want to make sure that we handle it properly. And it may sound like something that may happen automatically, but it doesn't actually happen automatically. So here are a couple of things you want to consider when you're doing well in an area. A, don't park here. Do not park here. That means don't just say, oh, I'm doing well. I'm just going to cross my arms and stick my feet up and it's going to go well forever, because things change. And so you don't want to ever say, this is as good as it gets. This is the best it's going to get and nothing ever else can happen. Or this is a success that I'm going to live the rest of my life by. And I remember hearing, if you know Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child, I heard her do an interview. And after that interview, I was just like, she is so amazing. Because she's saying how, like, she feels like in this part of her life, she is actually doing what she feels like she was put on the earth to do. And so she said, like, yes, I won these Grammys. Yes, I won all of these things. But she's like, they're in a storage unit and I don't know where the key is. So it just showed that she didn't part by that success. She was like, some people may think that, oh, the highest success level that I could achieve was back in 2000s, in the early 2000s. She said, but I feel like I am being successful for where I'm at. So that's just an example of not parking there. Now, you also don't want to define yourself by your success, because success shouldn't be your identity. Your success should not be your identity. You can feel good about it. You can celebrate it. Of course, please do. But don't let it define you, because if you allow it to define you, the first time you fail is going to be devastating. Okay. And so we're moving out of that. We're moving away from that. Now, we also don't want to allow success to make us arrogant, because some people, they get a little bit of success and then they think that they're the cat's meow and the dog's bow wow. But guess what? That is one of the easiest ways to get humble, because when you experience a failure or when something happens, or, if a position is taken away, or if you have to do something else to change your life, that can cause people to fall as well. And then they can be devastated as well. So you can have, maybe somebody who was really high profile and then all of a sudden this stuff happens and then they're like, oh my gosh, and it's really humbling. And we want to be humble people. We want to celebrate our success. Now, being humble, let me say this, being humble does not mean that you don't acknowledge your awesomeness, because you should acknowledge your awesomeness. But don't let your awesomeness cause you to think that you're better than other people, because they also have awesomeness too. So just remember to be humble, right? And then we also don't want to allow our success to make us sloppy, because some people get successful and they just think like, oh, I worked hard on the job for 20 years and now I got this promotion that I always wanted. I became a partner. I did this, I did that. So now I can just show up whenever I want to, or just decide if I'm going to take a 4-hour lunch, or, whatever the situation is. Like, just remember what got you to that point of success. And in some respects, most of the time you have to continue doing those things, so if you're showing up on time, if you're being diligent, if you're being responsible, you want to continue doing those things. Okay. Now, if you are currently feeling stuck as a leader, I want you to go ahead and check out the playlist that I'm putting here. Make sure you check it out. I have lots of short form videos. I'm making more long form content and I love teaching. So, I just will try to slide in those lessons when I can. And I want you to think about what may need to change in your mindset so that you can get to success. And also, if you like today's video, I want you to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That lets me know what type of content I should continue to create moving forward. I am a full-time entrepreneur and an investor. And so I want to ensure that I'm using my time wisely and creating the content that you guys would like to see. And then also, if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to cover in the future, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I love to read your comments and I love to find out what you guys want to learn from me. And with that being said, make it a great day. Take care.